Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Verna Bharath. This is TTT News. It's time for the headlines. Fire officers march against unnecessary risk to lives. Government to register all Venezuelans in TTT from next month. JTAM expresses concern over selection of judges in industrial court. And in sport, Floyd referred to coach Windies at upcoming ICC Cricket World Cup. At least 3 fire stations in the Northern Division cannot respond to emergencies. President of the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service Association, Leo Ramkisoon, says this is unacceptable as the lives of many are at risk. Today, the members of the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service Association marched from the Morva Fire Station to the San Juan Fire Station. Ian Wason and cameraman Ricky Gokul were there.
Before the march, Association President Leo Ramkisoon revealed that 13% of fire officers don't have fire kits, while the Chagaramas, Woodbrook and Santa Cruz fire stations cannot help persons in distress as they are not equipped to do so. He said the lack of fire trucks and the poor conditions at fire stations is of serious concern. He said the march on Thursday from Morva to San Juan is not about fire officers.
And therefore officers have come out here in defense of public safety. Not even to raise their own issues so much, is more to raise the issues of public safety, the safety of the public.
He said the lack of fire trucks cannot be taken lightly. He said flights coming into the country can be affected if the shortage hits the Piaco station.
So if we were to lose one truck right now, we would have a category, the category would be dropped, and therefore international flights would not be able to land in Trinidad.
He said the public needs to support the fire service by calling on the government to do its part. He also called on citizens to play another important role to lessen the need to call 990.
The law is clear. Lighting fires during the months of between December to July any given year is the dry season, and it is unlawful. It's punishable by law. I think the state is moving to increase the fines and so on. So that is unlawful. If you must do so, go to your fire station and seek a fire permit where they will come and assess and guide you accordingly. It's only $10. Still.
Mr. Ramkisoon said the fire officers are committed to fulfilling their oath to protect the population. Ian Wason, TTT News.
The Fire Service Association president responded to Minister Stuart Young's statements when he told reporters in Cedros in March that he was not aware of issues Mr. Ramkisoon shared with the media house. At the time, Minister Young said Mr. Ramkisoon has his number and he could have called him. Mr. Ramkisoon is not buying it.
The minister does not have the luxury of managing the fire service via text message from the association's president. This is all well and good for communications purposes, but when you have 7 fire stations that were not responding to the public out of 11, and the minister is saying he doesn't know, that is not acceptable at all.
Come next month, government will begin to register all Venezuelan nationals in Trinidad and Tobago, whether legal or illegal. At today's post-cabinet media briefing, Minister of National Security Stuart Young said the registration will start on May 31st and end on June 14th. He said the registration exercise is estimated to cost $5 million. Marie Hull reports.
They're calling it a Migrant Registration Framework Policy, or MRF. And what that means is that government will now be able to have a registry of all Venezuelan nationals in this country.
To go through this 2-week registration process. This 2-week registration process is going to start on the 31st of May, and it is scheduled to end on the 14th of June 2019. I want to make it abundantly clear, whether Venezuelans are here legally or illegally, once they come into the window of that 2-week period and they register, they will derive the opportunity to get a registration card. They will have a work permit exemption permitting them to work for a year.
Minister of National Security Stuart Young said the registration process should eliminate some of the exploitation of Venezuelan workers in this country. He said the amnesty will allow Venezuelans to work for minimum wage and they will not be asked to pay NIS. Minister Young said Venezuelan nationals who are in immigration detention centers for violating immigration laws will be released and allowed to register. However, he said, if the nationals are not registered by June 14th, the laws will revert.
If persons are not registered by the 14th of June, which is the proposed cut-off date, then the law reverts to them as is now. So you have an amnesty up to the 14th of June. You've registered. Once that registration period is over, we revert back to the laws currently exist.
The National Security Minister noted that under the MRF, foreign nationals will not be guaranteed access to education or social services. The 5 centers will be stationed in Arima, Port of Spain, San Fernando, Cedros, and Scarborough. Marie Hall, TTT News.
The immigration laws of this country prohibits entry of persons who have been convicted of or admitted to having committed any crime, which, if committed in this country, would be punishable with imprisonment for 1 or more years. However, National Security Minister Stuart said he is prepared to grant an exemption to promoters of the I Am Legend concert, which headlines Mark Buju Banton Mairi, once an application is made. In 2011, Buju was convicted for cocaine trafficking in the United States. He served 10 years in prison. The Immigration Act says the minister may authorize, in writing, under his hand or under the hand of a person designated by him, entry into Trinidad and Tobago of persons passing through Trinidad and Tobago under GAD to another country. At the post-cabinet media conference, Minister Young said a file on the matter was on his desk.
Buju Banton falls foul of our immigration laws in Trinidad and Tobago. I have asked that it be conveyed to the organizers of the concert that they need to make an application to the Minister of National Security for an exemption. I can say at this stage I am prepared to give the exemption for the concert to go on.
The Joint Trade Union Movement has expressed concern over the recent selection of judges for the Industrial Court. Speaking to the media outside the court earlier this morning, the JTUM leader said the selection of judges favors the business sector, especially the group he calls the 1%.
The process that is being used to select judges here at the Industrial Court is not an objective process. It is one that allows the politicians to commingle and to get involved into who they want as judges. And therefore, if the 1% says that they don't want Judge X, Y, or Z, the cabinet takes that instructions and it has.
Mr. Roger claimed judges who performed well in providing justice for workers were targeted. He alleged that it was these law arbiters whose contracts were not renewed. Among those named as a new judge was President of the Bankers, Insurance and General Workers Union, Vincent Cabrera, a comrade of Mr. Roger. The Banking, Insurance and General Workers Union is a member of the Joint Trade Union Movement.
While we support and we congratulate and commend our comrade, he is now in a very challenging situation to be able to dispense justice.
And remember, you can also keep up to date with the latest stories on Facebook and Twitter at TTT Live Online. More to come. Stay with us.
KFC's Family 9 Bucket is for every family. Like this family. Or this one. No matter what yours is like, you'll enjoy 9 pieces of delicious chicken and 4 regular sides for only $115. KFC, it's finger licking good.
The entire West Indies selection panel has been fired by the new administration, and a 3-man committee led by Jamaica's Rob Robert Haynes will select the regional team for the upcoming International Cricket Council, the ICC World Cup in England. Barbadian Floyd Reefer will replace Richard Pybus as coach of the regional team for the upcoming World Cup, having served as acting head coach of the team to Bangladesh last year. He will also be one of the men in the three-man panel to select the team for the event. The others are Jamaican Robert Haynes, who will chair the selection committee, replacing Barbadian Courtney Brown, and is joined by Cricket Development Director Jimmy Adams. New president of CWI, Ricky Skerritt, has promised to ensure that the strongest possible West Indies team go to England to compete at the game's showpiece event, and has asked the selectors to give everyone a fair chance to push for selection. The Gold Cup draw has placed the TNT Warriors in a tough Group D alongside defending champs, the United States. Ruskin Mack has the details about this and the reactions of coach Dennis Lawrence, who isn't fazed by the task ahead.
It's what it was meant to be. But as I said before, when you go into any major tournament, I think if you want to win the tournament, you have to probably beat some of the better teams, and USA are one of the best. So we're looking forward to it. They'll be excited about it, and then it's going to be a full house when we play the US, because they'll have the fans behind them, and hopefully a few Trinidadian fans will turn out.
The reactions of a man planning a major upset in the Americans' backyard of all places. Lawrence also wants his troops to enjoy the moment.
I look forward to an exciting tournament. Is the biggest in the CONCACAF region. It's like our World Cup, and the players should be excited about it. They should be excited about turning up in a tournament representing Trinidad and Tobago and doing well. So I think they need to just embrace the moment when it comes and go out and just try and do the best.
Trinidad and Tobago will open play against Panama in the first game of a doubleheader on June the 18th at the Allianz Field in Minnesota, home of Kevin Molyneux's Minnesota United. Then it's the acid test with the USA in Cleveland on June 22nd, before closing out group play with Guyana in Kansas City on June 26th.
We knew it was going to be easy because they're all very good teams that is qualified for the Gold Cup. So it's an interesting one.
Lawrence is also a bit relieved as he can now plan properly for the opener with Panama.
The idea is to try and start some training with the local group, because obviously that remains a major concern for us. In the absence of the league, we need to try and prepare some of the local players and them to get them ready and to give them a chance to try and make the Gold Cup squad. So that is prominent on my mind at the moment, and is a bit of a concern. So we're working on that at the moment. Then hopefully going into the Venezuela and the Japan game. And then if you look at the date of the first game, I think the Japan game is coming at a good time. It gives us enough time to recover after the game. So that's going to be the preparation leading into it.
The 2019 Gold Cup will be the biggest ever, with more participating nations, 16 up from 12 in 2017, and 3 host countries instead of 1, with matches in Costa Rica and Jamaica for the first time, requiring 17 stadiums instead of the 14 used previously. Ruskin Mark, TTT Sports.
The third leg of the annual Carifin Games was possibly the most demanding of all, but for the winners, it was ironically their strongest runs. The runners took up the challenge shortly after 5 p.m. and from the off, the push to the top was a punishing trek as the runners spread themselves across the road looking for running room. In the end, there was no stopping Jean-Paul Drakes of Republic Bank as he notched another victory to remain as the man to beat in this year's competition, clocking 14 minutes and 13 seconds, with fellow Republic banker Abijah Phillip filling second in 14:43, a creditable run for him personally. Anil Mann of First Citizens claimed third place in 16 minutes and 6 seconds, some distance behind Drakes.
It's fantastic. I mean, the Chancellor Challenge is one of my favorite races out of the Carifin competition, and I'm just looking forward to this event because, like I said, it's my favorite, and I know that we have some stiff competition between my colleague and I, Abijah, which he came second, and I'm really proud of him for doing so good, and I'm just looking forward to the upcoming events.
The winner of the women's race was once again the impressive Selena Scott of Central Bank. She also swept all 3 races, clocking a solid 17 minutes and 52 seconds to be the first female up the hill. Second was Lorraine Ayangchi in 2013, followed by Anika Gant in 2049 to complete the top 3. And among the walkers, Neil Digwall and Tessa Weeks were the first over the line.
The Carifin I've never seen is a 3-part series, started off with 1 lap Savannah 3 weeks ago, and then the Green Mile, which was last week, and finishes off with the Chancellor Challenge today. And I won all 3. This has been my 3rd year winning all 3 actually.
The Carifta swim team is all set to launch a wicked assault on medals over in Barbados. Ruskin Mark has more on a talented team that is putting in the hard yards ahead of their meet in Barbados, even as the water polo stars jump into the pool ahead of them as early as this Friday.
Well, I competed last year in the open water as well, and I expect to improve my placement this year.
I never really make any plans for the open water. Well, I guess my best goal right now is to go out there and try to do my best and make the country proud.
Some very confident swimmers who are keen to represent the red, white and black over in Barbados at the upcoming Carifta Swimming Championships Easter weekend. The 35-member team has been hard at work raising expectations of a massive medal haul again this year.
I mean, we have a fantastic opportunity, a fantastic chance of actually being in the top three. I mean, we're doing much more than we do over the previous years. We have increased our training sessions from one a week to where we're doing as much as 3 times a week. We train presently on Wednesday, Thursday, as well we come back on a Saturday. We have moved from 2 hours of training to almost 6 to 7 to almost 8 hours a week in terms of training. So our expectations are pretty high with regard to this particular team.
This country has a rich history at these regional swimming championships and will be among the leaders once again, with some new names emerging on the national scene. Ruskin Mark, TTT Sports.
More to come. Stay with us.
Maximize impact when you advertise on TTT Live Online. With TTT Live Online, your brand can be seen by viewers in TNT and all around the world via our social media pages, and you can bet they're watching. Our audience is growing every day as TTT Live Online boasts a combined 500,000 followers on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Our statistics show the live stream of the Now Morning Show reaches tens of thousands of viewers each day. Our news and entertainment pieces draw hundreds of thousands of views across all platforms. And now you have an opportunity to be featured alongside this amazing content. Are you ready to maximize impact? Contact our sales team today. Call 622-4141 at extensions 2601 to 2611 or email us at sales@ttt.co.tt. The weather is brought to you in part by the Water and Sewerage Authority. Water, use what you need.
The harsh dry season continues, and the outlook from the beginning of the season was for very hot conditions as you go through April and May. And today was a hot day. 33.2 degrees recorded at Piarco. Meanwhile, at Caroni, just shy of the 33, technically 32.7, and out towards Pinar heading up 32. Now, bearing in mind that as we go through the next few weeks and months, could also see an increase in the Saharan dust. We've been looking at the Saharan dust, possibility of it coming quite close to Guyana by the time we get to late on Friday, going into Saturday. But for us, it seems as though that dust may begin to thin as it gets closer to us through the weekend. But nevertheless, overnight it should be mostly clear across Tobago, cool in those sheltered areas, but warmer along the coastline. And then we could be seeing quite a hot sunny start first thing, and then a bit of cloudiness as you get towards the latter half of the afternoon, maybe the chance of a shower there. For eastern areas of Trinidad, a sunny start as well here for Valencia, Arima, and then you'll see some afternoon clouds and some showers, a possibility of some showery spells extending into Piarco as well during the heat of the afternoon. And it will be quite breezy as well down towards the south coast into Mayaro, down towards Manzanilla, but still a few afternoon showers are expected in a few areas. Temperature-wise, looking at highs of 33 degrees Celsius in Trinidad, 31 expected in Canaan. It seems as though the rest of the weekend still mostly fair with a bit of Saharan dust by Monday. It seems as though heading offshore will continue to keep those winds quite fresh. Easterly at 20 knots with short east-northeasterly swells of 8 seconds. Some sea spray around, with the Atlantic still moderate at 2 meters for the most part. And that is how it will stay through Saturday and possibly Sunday. Now, for the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, it's been mostly settled, at least for now. Up towards the north, we have been looking at an upper-level trough and some unstable weather around Hispaniola. Still likely to spark a few showers for Santo Domingo and Port-au-Prince in Haiti, but sunnier for Jamaica, 30 degrees Celsius likely here alongside Havana. For the Eastern Caribbean, we have been seeing a bit of moisture slipping in around the Atlantic high. That will continue across the Leeward Islands, so some showers from St. Lucia northwards. But from Barbados come south, it will be quite fine, quite dry, but also a touch breezy for Bridgetown, coming down towards St. George's as well, quite gusty at times, and then down towards Georgetown. A bit of cloudiness, some damp spots, and they could be seeing some Saharan dust by the time they get to late Saturday, going into Sunday. But for us, a sunny start, but with some showers coming through later on during the day. So that's the weather, and that's it from me.
The weather was brought to you in part by the Water and Sewage Authority. Water, use what you need.
As the state moves forward with the construction of a new airport terminal building in Tobago, the Chief Secretary, Calvin Charles, is once again assuring that those affected will be compensated.
I need to emphasize as well that as part of the process to ensure fair and adequate compensation, that the state will pay for private valuations. And this is important. And at this point, I would want to say to those residents likely to be affected, you can go right ahead and engage your private valuers, but ensure that they are duly registered.
Mr. Charles says questions on the location of the site for the terminal building have been raised. However, he notes that the decision for the construction site was made on the basis of technical studies and not emotions or politics.
There were a number of options considered, ladies and gentlemen, at least 7 of them. And at the end of that assessment, looking at the pros and the cons, it was agreed and decided that where it is to be sited is the best location in all circumstances.
Here are the details of the day's market activity on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange.
Trading on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange produced a volume of 32,243 shares with a traded value of $524,995.53. NCB Financial Group Limited was the volume leader with 10,000 shares changing hands. Investors bought and sold the stocks of 15 securities, with 5 advancing, 3 declining, and 7 ending the day unchanged. The composite, the All TNT, and the cross-listed indices advanced.
More to come. Stay with us.
Hey, always keep your cutlass in your hand when you're in the bush, boy. You never know what could happen.
Witness the television premiere of Green Days by the River. See local film at its best.
I know my spirit is calling. Sunshine.
Getting too damn lazy, man. There's something to make them get fierce.
Green Days by the River. Easter Sunday, April 21st at 3 p.m. TTT. It's going to be epic.
Mothers of children who died due to gang violence and crime were afforded the opportunity by the Ministry of Education to lend support and share their experiences with parents who may have experienced similar circumstances while on a retreat to Toku. School social specialist Natalie Robinson-Arnold said this is the first Laventille Morva School Impact Initiative, which she hopes will be a success.
Our Laventille Morva School Improvement Project and our School Social Work Awareness Week. What we are doing today is really creating an avenue to support our parents who have gone through some sort of trauma or loss, so that they will better able to support their students through the education system.
One parent said she is happy to be part of the initiative to share her experience.
We need to step up with single parents. A matter of fact, I know too, but assisting them with, with grants, because it have grants there for us, and we need to get them.
The work of a movie producer is different from that of a writer. That is the sentiment of Dr. Michael Anthony, who wrote Green Days by the River.
When I said it was very fortunate that it didn't sort of concern me, it's because a writer is not a filmmaker.
Yes, it's a
and
whole
a filmmaker
different,
is not a writer.
Whole different ball game, so to say.
So all that happens is that you quarrel.
Dr. Anthony was referring to his book being converted into a movie. He made it clear that he had no significant role in the actual creating of the film.
I didn't want to know much about it. And I must say that it's a very nice thing indeed that we ended up all in agreement that we've done a good piece of work.
Yes.
He was extremely happy that the value of his work was not diminished, but rather elevated in the makeover. The movie Green Days by the River premieres on TTT on Easter Sunday, April 21st from 3 p.m. WikiLeaks co-founder Julian Assange has been arrested at the Ecuadorian embassy in London. He took refuge in the embassy in 2012 to avoid extradition to Sweden over a sexual assault case that had since been dropped. At Westminster Magistrates Court on Thursday, he was found guilty of failing to surrender to the court. He now faces U.S. federal conspiracy charges related to one of the largest ever leaks of government secrets. The UK will decide whether to extradite him in response to allegations by the Department of Justice that he conspired with former U.S. intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning to download classified databases. If you're a Sweet 100 fan, you'd be quite familiar with Wednesday Love. Wednesday, the day dedicated to love songs through the years. Yesterday evening, sister station Sweet 100.1 FM took Wednesday Love one step further with the first of a series of concerts entitled Wednesday Love. The concert saw music lovers from east to west at Fiesta Plaza in Movietown in Invaders Bay.
Wait for me, I'll be coming home. Wait for me. Oh, my love, my darling, I've hungered for your love, long time. Clovers, yes. The night I looked at you, I found a dream that I could speak to, a dream that I can call my own. I found a thrill to press my cheek to, a thrill that
The next concert in the series is carded for June. Well, that's a wrap on this evening's TTT News. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Verna Bharath. Have a good night.